Gladiator, fame and disgrace, blood, women, and money. Living tools of entertainment, victims of glory, symbols of Rome's brutal might. The crowd adored them. The emperors used them. They were despised and loved. In the heart of the empire, where life weighed less than the shadow of a blade, a legend was born that lives on to this day. Gladiators were not born out of entertainment. Their first battles were blood sacrifices, rituals honoring the dead. In the 3rd century BCE, during the funeral of a Roman nobleman, 3 slaves fought to the death. Soon, the ritual evolved into a spectacle. During the empire, gladiator games became a powerful force. Emperor Trajan held spectacles where thousands of men and wild beasts perished. Gladiators were like modern celebrities, famous, desired, adored by women. But it wasn't only the arenas that buzzed with life. Romans sought thrills in lavish feasts, flowing wine, and sensual pleasures. Slave girls served the wealthy patricians, not only at the table. Most gladiators were slaves and barbarians captured, humiliated, chained. But some were volunteers. The poor, thrill seekers, even Roman citizens hungry for fame and fortune. Gladiators were not a uniform group. Depending on their weapons, fighting style, and role in the arena, they were divided into distinct types. Their diversity served not only to entertain, but also fulfilled tactical purposes. Here are the most important ones. Murmillo armed like a Roman legionary. He fought with a heavy sword and a large shield. Retiarius fought with a net and trident, without a helmet. Thrix Fast and agile, he used a curved sword and a small shield. Secutor, the opponent of the Retiarius, with a smooth helmet and heavy armor. Bestiarius fought against wild animals. Gladiators lived in brutal training camps, ludus. Daily, they trained under merciless Lannisters. Diet, discipline, combat, and waiting for the day they'd face the arena. In ancient Rome, gladiator combat was more than entertainment. It was a display of state power, a tool of politics, propaganda, and crowd control. From the 3rd century BCE to the late Empire, gladiatorial games drew tens of thousands of spectators. The greatest of them were held in the Colosseum, where, according to ancient sources, up to 9,000 people and animals could die during a single festival. Within this brutal tradition stood not only men, but, on rare occasion, women. Rome did not believe in female strength. That's why it wanted to see it humiliated or victorious. In the amphitheaters, to the sound of drums and the roar of the crowd, women stepped onto the sand. Not as victims, but as gladiatresses. They were chosen in silence by noblemen seeking beauty, brutality, or profit, taken from slave markets, brothels, or conquered tribes. In the training yards, elegance was stripped away. Only the body remained to be hardened, punished, reshaped into a weapon. Day after day, in sweat, dust, and pain, they learned not to survive, but to kill. Though mentioned infrequently, women did fight in the arena. Roman sources speak of them briefly, but clearly. The historian Cassius Dio describes Emperor Domitian staging nighttime games, where women and dwarfs fought for the amusement of the elite. A stone inscription from Halicarnassus, dated to the 2nd century CE, records a duel between 2 female gladiators, Amazon and Achilia, described as worthy of Hercules and Achilles. These women fought other women, and at times, as noted by Suetonius, even faced wild beasts. For Rome's elite, they were a spectacle. For the public, a shocking novelty. For the rising Christian movement, an outrage. By the 4th century CE, under Emperor Constantine, the great female combat in the arena was officially banned. Officially, the reason was to protect the dignity of Roman womanhood. In truth, it reflected a deeper transformation in imperial values. The gladiatrices left behind no statues or monuments, but their names, their scars, and their brief moments of glory live on in stone, in text, and in legend. Contrary to popular belief, gladiators did not fight only under force or without reward. Although most were slaves, they could earn prize money missio for victories and were sometimes awarded gifts such as weapons, wine, or even women. Free men who voluntarily became gladiators auctorati often received regular salaries and performance bonuses. The most successful fighters became celebrities. Their images appeared on mosaics, pottery, and graffiti, and their fame rivaled that of modern athletes and actors. Some even amassed considerable wealth, and a few managed to buy their freedom with the wooden sword of liberation Rudes. The grandest spectacles took place in the Colosseum. Fights followed rules. Referees were present. Gladiators didn't always fight to the death, but often enough fights were brutal. Some lasted minutes, others an hour. The crowd decided the fate of the loser, with one gesture, life or death. In the 2nd and 1st centuries BCE, the Roman Republic stood at the height of its power. Victories over Carthage, Greece, and Syria had made it the unrivaled force of the Mediterranean world. But this expansion came at a cost. Hundreds of thousands of people, war captives, were brought to Rome as slaves. They worked in the mines, on the fields, and in the villas of the patricians. From their ranks came the gladiators, living tools of entertainment. For the masses, excitement. For the elite, control. For the gladiators themselves, chains and a fight to survive. In 73 BCE, a rebellion erupted in the gladiator school of Capua. It wasn't the scheme of generals or the plot of nobles. It was an act of desperation. 70 slaves, armed only with kitchen knives and courage, broke through the walls of slavery. At their head stood a Thracian, a gladiator named Spartacus. They planned only to flee. Instead, they sparked a war.
No more mercy! No mercy!
The escapees found refuge on the slopes of Mount Vesuvius. There, among forests and rocks, the first slave army was born. Rome underestimated them. It sent small forces and suffered defeat. Spartacus proved to be not only a warrior but a brilliant strategist. With every victory, morale grew. Their numbers grew, so did their hope. and the Senate began to fear. Within months, the rebellion had spread across much of Italy. Shepherds, miners, and runaway slaves joined the gladiators. Their numbers swelled beyond 70,000. Spartacus defeated consul after consul. Rome was in panic. The city stood within reach of those long beaten, bound, and humiliated. Now they carried swords. Spartacus wished to cross the Alps and return to Thrace, but many in his army wanted to march on Rome, to take revenge. That choice proved fatal. The Senate gave command to Marcus Crassus, a ruthless but effective man. In a final battle at the river Silarus, the rebels were crushed. Spartacus was killed. His body was never found. Those who survived found no mercy. 6,000 prisoners were crucified along the Appian Way from Capua to Rome, across every mile. So no one would forget what happens to those who raise their hand against the Republic. Spartacus was defeated, but his name endured. He became a symbol of resistance, a man who refused to be a tool of entertainment and chose freedom. History is written by the victors, but legend belongs to those who never surrendered. For emperors, the games were tools of power. For the people, bread and circuses. Gladiators symbolized strength, courage, and Rome's eternal might.